That song just jams.
And it just makes you want to dance in your seat.
Yeah, I just want
Now
to
it's
bang.
stuck in my head.
I want to bang my head around.
When the fuck do we get that?
Oh, it's
brand new, man.
Yeah,
brand
new. It's brand new, man. See what happens
when I take time
see,
off?
Let's see what happens when you've been gone for a couple of shows, so we had to focus, change it up a little bit. Well, everybody out there, it's Wednesday. That means another episode of Wednesday Night Live. And tonight, I wanted to focus on what can we do right now, where we need to our full attention. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We are going to do our Twitter shout out, which is new. And today we have two people that we're going to shout out. So again, if you guys want to participate in the shout out, guys, and just tag this show and on a person, I don't know how to do it. Tim will explain it probably better than I can, but you can tag someone and we will try to add them and the shout out. So if you think they deserve for being part of the community and sharing advocacy and doing their part, and they deserve a shout out, let us know. Tag us in your post with their name, and we'll get them on here. Again, we want everyday people. We don't want Grim Green and Matt, and those are already we should already be following these people. I want the regular Joe, the guy that's busting his ass, who's posting every day. He's reposting tweets. He's posting his own comments and concerns, stuff like that. That's what we want. And those are the people we need to represent and get their faces out there. Let's say hello to Mr. Tim Swift over there. Tim, how you doing? And how's your week? And Tim is having a great week. His mic is out, and I will be getting everybody out there. I will be getting Tim's phone address, and I will be sending him a USB interface and a microphone.
And he's making fun of me because I had the mute button on. But anyway, I didn't even realize it was on. No, I've actually had a pretty good week. I've started some new projects, got some fun stuff going on. I mean, nothing monumental in my life right now, but I got a concert to go to tomorrow night.
Oh,
so
right.
I'm gonna rock out a little bit tomorrow night.
80s, 90s, or 2000?
It's current with a 90s, 80s, 90s vibe. How about that?
Oh, nice.
Well, one band's called Wild Street from New York City. If you guys are into being investigative and looking up bands and shit like that, you go look up a band from New York called Wild Street. One word. Actually, a pretty cool little kind of glam kind of band. And then my friends are opening for them. They're called Shotgun Superstars, and they do cover songs, but they do cover songs of like old, like 80s, 90s,
Nice.
kind of, I don't want to call them B-sides, but maybe deeper cut stuff from rock metal bands. And then they do a lot of music that comes out of Europe that's like the rock style, like
I like that
hard
name,
rock,
though.
heavy.
What was it? Say that name again?
Shotgun Superstars.
Damn.
And I did their logo, so you can give me a clap when you see their logo.
That name just brings me back to like the 70s, though.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a combination of. So it's a husband and wife team that make up the core of the band, and I don't know the names of their original bands. All I can tell you is that one of them was in a band that had the word shotgun in it, and the other one was in a band that had the word superstars in it. So they said, you know what, perfect name. We'll just combine the two, and they are hence now Shotgun Superstars.
We could probably even do like a show someday just on band names and how they came up with them.
You know what would be really cool? What would be even more fun? And they don't have to be a big advocate. They don't have to be like a face in the game. Just an average Joe, like most of us are anyway, and have like someone that plays like in a band, that's somebody, maybe a little bit of somebody, and have them come on the show as a vapor and talk about their vape journey and stuff like that. Just kind of get somebody who's, a musician from that angle. I don't know. I'll look around. I got a few contacts.
That'd be awesome. And look who's back with us all the way from cold ass Wisconsin.
It's not that cold. Well,
what's up?
Yeah, it is that cold. Never mind.
Who drinks milk out of a bag?
Well, it's been an adventure. I've been dealing with some stuff. I'm better now. I helped some friends through some stuff.
You're a good man.
They're better now. I mean, they're taking advice from me, so I really can't tell.
I don't know. I don't know.
I want to thank Morgan for stepping up and taking my spot while I was absent.
Yeah, she did a good job.
And
She did.
no, Morgan, I don't want to wait till December because I hate winter.
I think Morgan's still building you that snake sweater that she started
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago.
I don't need a snake sweater.
Snake sweater.
My sweaters, my hoodies have arms.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're glad to have you back, Tom. We're
Luke,
glad
you can
everything's
keep the
worked
snow,
out.
buddy.
Yeah. And we're glad you're drinking. Hey, by the way, how do you warm milk in a bag? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go
You
there.
don't.
Microwave.
And the guy where winter is gone and summer's just around the corner, Mr. Paul, out in Australia. When is it officially summer? December? What is it?
No, it's already summer.
Yeah.
I thought it didn't officially start.
No. It's already summer, but we've now got rain and it's cold again. I'm wearing a t-shirt and a
I
little
was gonna say.
light warmer vest. What the fuck's going on?
All right, but you have, like we do here, you have
Yes.
an official date that designates it to be summer. What is the designated date for summer?
Designated date is when it's over 9,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
when you can cook an egg on a car, it is officially summer.
Well, that's the easiest
Well,
way.
we do here. I mean, if I Google it right now, the official date for summer here in the United States, there's an actual date that is when it is officially summer. We have an official date for spring, and
our
fall,
official
right,
date
guys?
for winter is
I-
December
I-
21st.
Because we're all cutesy over here
They're all
and shit.
cutesy.
Yeah,
They don't-
Australia, they play by totally different rules.
Yeah, they don't go to Starbucks and with their Uggs on and
Hang on, Tim. Rules? What are rules?
That's what I said. You play it by a totally different set of standards
yeah.
or non-standards. It's in the Australian Handbook of Life. I think it's just called "What the fuck ever," right?
Yeah.
Listen.
Are the Australians blaming the rain today that you're having on global warming? No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
Let's not start that conversation.
Please, no.
Oh, what is that?
Put him in a box for saying that one, because fuck that shit. It doesn't work that way.
Oh, the ice caps are melting, Paul. It's all Australia's fault.
Oh well,
I'm just kidding.
if you really want to go down that pathway,
No, not on this show. Not on this show.
You can have a look at our Prime Minister and going to COP26 and with one of the big mining logos on our stand, and I'm like, oh man, really? This is COP26, and you go there with mining companies.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Well, we're going to jump right into the Twitter shout out and get that out of the way. So let me get the
Hold on, way to go, Wallix. That was, dude. That was an epic click then, though, bro. Because
fuck, I just clicked a random video.
see, and that's how you fall into a good group of people, right? It's just it's manifest destiny. Right.
That's it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Stick around, buddy. We promise you a good time. We'll promise you 2 hours of knowledge, excitement, laughs, milk in a bag. If you need milk in a bag, Tom will send you some.
And Wallix, Dave's not here, man.
Yeah.
All right,
Dave's not here,
He
man.
might be too young to get that reference.
Is
He's only
Dave?
19.
Hey, is Dave
Every
home?
stoner knows that routine.
Is Dave home? Oh, let's
What
get
the
right
heck?
into it. And today we have two people. We're gonna do two people today, and it was pretty cool, Paul. I thought that was cool that you knew both people, and it wasn't
Yeah.
because they knew Paul. I just randomly go through my Twitter feed and see who's liking my stuff or reposting it. And that's how I'm doing it right now. We're waiting for you guys to participate in this segment. So, like I said, tag people. If you feel they're worthy to be shouted out, they're busting their ass. They've been doing it for years, and we want to help them out and get them some more followers and help get the word out. So today we are doing Anita, And let me pull up her thingy. Let me pull up her
I don't know
thingy.
why is that name familiar to me?
Anita Hollis.
She is on a lot of tweets. I went and looked
Yep.
around. She reposts a lot. She likes a lot. So,
Okay, hold on. She's now followed.
Yeah.
and
Anita Hollis has been around for quite some time and a very, very, very good advocate. In the
Yeah.
THR
She chimes in on a lot of my tweets, and so
Yeah.
that's why the name is familiar.
she's a mom. She's a grandmother. She's a wife. I've been checking out her thing. I got checking out her feed, and
her thing.
she's been on it, guys. So everybody watching, head on over to her page and give her a follow. Let her know why you're over there, and let her know she's being shouted out. Let me take this thing off of Tom's face here. This is the one thing I don't like. That I hope that StreamYard fixes, somehow making this banner thing translucent. I don't know what is that word.
Well, you know what they could do is they just make it a little bit smaller and just shift it to the right.
Right. Yeah. So I hate blocking that he's got that Brad Pitt look on today. I hate blocking it,
I am pretty.
So head on over to her page, give her a follow, guys. Tell her why you're there and that she's being shouted out. And I don't know what else to say. What else could you say?
I don't know her quite well. Yeah,
I
I
don't
just know her from her commenting on my tweets
Yeah.
or retweeting me.
Retweeting you. Let me make sure I get the second person's name correctly. And where did it go? Where did my notes
I
go?
saw it. It was Edward Hubert.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it right here. Edward Hubert. And you will know this individual as well, huh, Paul?
Yep. Both of them.
Both of them. And there's
Edward's also
Right there.
another epic tweeter.
I'm clicking on the
And-
wrong thing. There he is. I was doing it on the other monitor.
Is
Head
this
on
your
over.
first day, John?
You want to talk a little bit about him, Paul? Do you know him enough to say some words?
Edward always comes in with not only factual information, but will also point you in the direction. If we're in a big thread or a fight between one of the ants, Edward, if he sees something that I've done, he'll jump in and go, now, you should go on and look at this because this is real. Yours is fake. Fuck off. He doesn't say that, though, but have a look at some of his tweets and who he interacts with. And
Yeah,
he will shout out and he will call out the bullshit.
Yeah. And that's what I liked about his. And what I noticed with his, he's actually expressing his opinions and not
Correct.
like retweeting everybody's stuff. He's kind of
No.
putting in his own 2 cents. And I like that. And that's what we're going to try to focus on too as we move on with this segment, is trying to find people that are actually sharing their thoughts. Reposting is great as well. We that's awesome that we need that to get the word out. The more we retweet something, the better chances are that it'll get put into that what is it called, where hashtags trending, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So
But
so
with Edward, he will go and he will call out senators for a start. He will go and find the information and say, well, have a look at this before you start up on any of us again. And he will just go, bang, cop this. This is the real truth. You're just talking poppycock, and off he goes. And off he goes.
You got Tim to smile when you said poppycock.
That's because it's a dad word. It's a dad
grandpa
word.
word.
Yeah.
Get that poppycock shit off my lawn.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
No, there's another word that I use quite a lot. Twat waffle on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
People don't understand what it means, and I say, well, I can't really use the C word everywhere on Twitter. It's all twat. It's twat waffle.
Yeah, it's just the PC way of saying the C word.
Yeah, I know.
So head on over there, guys. Go give those 2 individuals a follow, and we'll try to do 2 a week. And we're just gonna, like I said, if you're interested in being showcased, or if you know anyone, please tag the show on there, and you can tag the show at Show Wednesday and let us know about them. We might not be following them, or we are, and we want to give them a shout out on the show and get some people over there to start following them. So that is the Wednesday Night Live Twitter shout out. I gotta get bumper. I can even bumper music for that too now. I've just been bumper music and all week here. Also, now we're going to just real quick. This is gonna be what? Did somebody raise their hand?
Nah.
No, don't. Okay,
No.
I thought I saw Tom raise his hand.
No, it was me. I'm trying to get the friggin' drip tip off the top of my fist.
You haven't. Yeah,
I don't know. I guess I cranked it down a little too hard.
It's tough, Tim, when you work with such big stuff and then you have to play around with this little stuff.
Well, it's got some little knurling shit on it, but sometimes you crank it down a little too hard, and even if you press up on the fucking tank, it won't come off.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
I got the same problem with it.
Tim?
Yeah.
I know, Tom, but I'd have to get up, and I don't want to get up.
Ladies.
He's not wearing shorts.
Ceramic tips.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Tom's got them. We all got everyone. That's the one thing that I'm kind of sad that they kind of disappeared. But the little vape kits, they're kind of gone. No manufacturers are putting any together, are they?
Ooh, have you seen the one from Vapefly? From 103 German? No, well, no. This one is tight, but it's like $75. Hold on, let me find it real quick.
Well, like this one. This one's in my backpack all the time.
Nice.
This one's all inclusive. This one's all inclusive, but it's sweet. Hold on one second. Let me show it to you. Hold on.
Yeah, you guys out there, if you guys have one of the kits, or if you guys have a kit that you like and you can still get, put the link in the chat. We'll get those out there, because I think that's a great thing to have when you make that transition from pods to the open tank systems, and having the ceramic tweezers, the screwdriver set, and all your wicking stuff all together in one little bag like Paul had in his hands. Great little set kits. I don't know, they just kind of disappeared for a while. Everybody was making them.
I'm like, ooh, I want one.
Well, Coil Master used to be the one.
But I mean,
now there's some brilliant ones.
Yeah,
there's even better ones than I've got.
See, Tom's got the Coil Master. Did you get that one, Tom, with the ohm reader too? Because I kind of did. Everyone realized, well, wait a minute, I could do that on my mod.
I did, and I don't use it anymore.
Yeah, you don't use it no more. I did too. I bought that fancy one, and now it's just I put it back in the box, because it's like, this is kind of stupid taking this out.
All right,
and making my coils.
1 second.
I've got an old.
Let me share this.
An old DNA 60.
Oh, that's a fancy one, Tim.
This mug right here.
Yeah,
Look,
I know.
Everybody check this one.
I've looked at that one.
Yeah, I've looked at it several times. Mine's Masterful tool bag. It's made by the team of German 103 and Vapefly.
Oh.
But wait, you got so you get
the precision screwdrivers.
Precision.
Yeah.
You get the
cutters suck. No, their cutters suck.
Okay, then you get some vape.
It's handcrafted in Germany. It's handcrafted.
Yeah, but the scissors are really good.
The leather is handcrafted in Germany.
I want. Here it is. This is
there it is.
You get the coiling kit. You get a coily tool.
Nice.
You get a stand. You get the different kind of cotton pickers or whatever you want to call those things. There you go. That's everything you get.
Yeah, that's not a bad looking kit. I mean, it's leather too, so you're paying a little bit more for that.
Yeah, like some people bought it and they're afraid to use it. They're like, I bought it and I got it sitting on my desk, but I won't even use it. I'm too afraid to use anything.
Those were the guys that were buying the $1,000 mech mod, and it's like, no, hell no, I don't use it. It just sits there. I was like, well,
yeah, but that makes no sense to me.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Okay, well, there is one mod that I do own that I won't use. I'm afraid of dropping it, because there was only 15 made.
Yeah. I mean, you got a
It's
couple.
not one of those meteorite mech mods, is it?
No, it's not a mech mod. It's it's made by Vicious Ant, and it's a stab wood, and each of them have a name. And when they first got released, they were about I think they were 1,500, 1,700 US. And I thought, no. And I've got one. I like the name of it, and that's why I've just kept it aside. But
Luke, I think Tim said it was $75. How much
Yeah,
was that?
it's 75.
That's not bad.
You can find it on like 3A Vape and Fast Tech and
Yeah,
some
I
of those
mean-
other places. I don't know if you can actually buy it through VapeFly Direct or they don't.
Yeah, how professional would you fucking look whipping out that leather case to start doing coils? It'd be like, oh, dude, this dude's fancy.
And that
Yeah,
coil you do, people would see the kit and be like, oh, he's gonna make some fancy coils, and you build a basic vape.
Single
26.
strand, fucking 26
single strand,
gauge,
yeah.
Yeah.
2 millimeter fucking mouth alarm coils. Yeah, I got this.
And I think when I looked on like Heaven Gifts has it. I'll tell you
Yeah.
right now, Heaven Gifts has.
Yeah, Tim is talking about a vape
No,
kit.
no
that
Wallachs.
comes
We're
with
not
all
talking
tools.
about dab pens, bro.
No dab pens. No dab. That's next week's show.
Wallachs wants everything on the show to be marijuana related. Yeah, wait till
No,
Maddie
no.
comes back next week.
Yeah, when Madison is back, we'll give you a heads up. I'll send you a link when Maddie's back up. She'll be back with some good stories. Let's get into the what this today's show's about, and I just kind of wanted today. Sitting here trying to think what we need to focus on, and I think a lot of it right now is there's a lot of shit going on, but I think our main focus this week and more so as until it gets voted on, but is the NIC tax. So. And I just wanted to kind of throw out some things that I feel that we all should be doing. And the first thing I think that we've talked about this before, and it's joining CASA and finding the call action page and getting over there and getting your letter out to your representative. That's number one, always in my book. Number two for me, and I wanted to stress this because I did it today, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know how many of my friends are actually going to comment on that post, but even if one person asks a vaping question or a concern with vaping and I can answer it, that's enough for me. I don't care if it's just one person, but that is share the links everywhere on your social media, guy. Share that link to this CASA call to action. Get them to go to that page, and who knows, they may just go to that page and just read the call to action. Some people may just start browsing around and looking around, and that's what we want. We want to draw people over to that page. You may not have all the answers that they need about vaping. Well, most of us do, but at least if you can get them, the non-vapor, your friend, your family, to just head on over to that CASA page and look at the call actions and read some of the testimonials that are on there, read some of the studies that are on there, and get to understand what we're doing, what we're going through. That's great. And I mean, what do you guys see? Am I right? I think we should all be sharing. And I am going to put out a thing next week. I have a shit ton of friends that are on Instagram that we all work together and we did photos. And I think that group of individuals, there are some top photographers that are out there and I want those guys. I'm going to put a plead on my Instagram page to get those photographers to start posting at least one advocacy post a week on their page. And I think they need to understand, you're making good money taking pictures of devices and e-liquid. Now help us with the fight. And I want to get that out to all the social media people that are out there on Instagram. What do they call the influencers?
Yeah.
And get these guys to at least one a week. Come on, just one advocacy post a week, or even two a week, and just get them out there. You guys have huge followings. You're drawing in anywhere from 600 to 700 to 800 to 1,000 likes a day on your page.
Yeah.
Get per photo, I should say, per photo. Just post one. So I'm going to put a push on Instagram to get these guys to start sharing the CASA page, start sharing some of the calls of action, start sharing some of the advocacy on those pages, at least one, just once a week. That's all we're asking, guys. Just one a week.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, I thought somebody was saying something.
Well, I was just going to say the same thing. I was going to say, as far as like things that we can do right now, I mean, obviously John's touching on probably the most poignant element, and that is that I think the biggest thing that we can try to fight, at least to try to get some pushback is the nicotine tax proposal that's buried in this Build Back Better bill. But we're always going to find ourselves sort of like clapping with one hand or talking to brick walls when it comes to the anti-organizations who are funded and fighting against vaping, or at least trying to show their influence there. I think one area that you can try to influence is the same audience that they're trying to influence. And I don't mean like tweeting something out or sharing on social media, because not in those typical bubbles, we're either talking to the bubble or in the bubble, or we don't have the people or the visibility of the crowd or the audience that we'd really ultimately like to reach. But the one aim or goal of the anti-organizations and who they're trying to influence from a propaganda perspective is the general public, the people that are impressionable, or people that just don't really know what's going on, people that are susceptible to reading gotcha headlines and not really doing a lot of research. And you're probably not going to get a lot of people to dig really deep into a particular subject, especially one that doesn't necessarily concern them, but they might lean one way or the other, or they might be somewhere like, well, I don't really know anything about it, so I can't comment. But I think if you can target the audience that doesn't really know much about vaping, people that are like, all they see on in the news and on their Facebook feeds and newspapers is all this negativity about vaping, which 99% of it's a bunch of baloney anyway. But I think we need to try to influence that audience as well. The audience that hears all the negative, they need to hear the positive as well.
Yeah. And for me, I know I've seen it. Everybody, I've been in that world with Instagram where, you have your peak. Believe me, analytics are so important back in the days with Instagram, and everybody knew when they had to post and knew how to charge to post at that certain time and all this. I don't want to share all that stuff, but it's important for these guys that is, like Morgan even said it herself. If you're making money off of something, you should want it to stick around. So, if it's gone, sure, as a photographer, you could jump to the next thing. But are you willing to, as an influencer on Instagram, are you willing to start all over again? I mean, are you on a different product? You have to start another page, build another following. When you have that following right there, use that following, share the knowledge, get it out there, get them to click on those links, head on over to Kasa, go live. I mean, the live feature on Instagram. If you don't want to post, go live, share that information with your followers, man. I know some of these photographers that can click the live button, and within 4 minutes, they got 10,000 people watching them.
But this is the problem with Instagram, okay? Yeah. They're afraid that they're going to lose their meal ticket if they start talking advocacy.
Right.
And I don't care who I call out. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Guess what, people? You might have only been in the industry for 1 or 2 years. We've been here 7 to 10 years between the majority of us. Yeah. You're the ones making all this money from an industry that's falling apart because you've never stepped up to the plate and done anything for the industry. Guess what? Go fuck yourselves. If you got me on Instagram, get rid of me.
Yep.
Block me, ban me, do whatever the fuck you want, because I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to step up to the plate and actually do something for the industry and try help saving it, or actually read something instead of hiding behind your lens, I'm done.
Yeah,
simple.
Sorry. I mean, it's big money, and some of these photographers are making big money off of these, and you can. I mean, these guys are creative enough that they can actually add the advocacy into the fucking picture. Into the picture. You could still have a beautiful picture of a fucking RDA and still somehow, some way share some advocacy within that picture. Put Kasa's logo up on the picture. You could do so much in the link. You could do all kinds of things. If you're so worried about promoting advocacy on Instagram and worried that Instagram is going to shut you down, then you're ridiculous. Also, like I said, just share that stuff, guys. Get your friends. I posted today, and on my like I said, I posted on my Facebook page today, and basically I just said I want to throw this question out to my friends, those of you with concerns about vaping. If you can discuss this topic as an adult, I promise you our community will do the same. I have many friends here on Facebook that are knowledgeable on the subject and will treat you with respect. What are your concerns with vaping? List them below and let's have a conversation without government or corporate involvement, just us tax-paying citizens. Simple question to ask these people, because some people they're afraid. They may hate vaping, but they're afraid of what's the negativity that they're going to get back. So I want people to feel comfortable to come onto my page, ask a question about vaping. And I know my friends that I have on my Facebook page are knowledgeable people. Paul, Tim, Tom, there's so many of my friends that are on there that will answer your question and be respectful. So that's the one thing. The third thing which we all have talked about is just be respectful to those communicating on your post. Just be respectful, and help them understand why you're fighting for this cause. Have links and studies ready to share with these people. Don't get frustrated. One thing that we've all learned as kids, you can't change everybody's mind. You're not going to change everybody's mind. You're lucky out of 10 people, you get 2 to jump onto your side. But be happy that you got 2. At least you put an effort out there and you tried to draw in somebody to change their opinion on our topic. What else did I write here? I wrote some other things. This is the last one. And I know that CASA has the link. You fill out that letter. It goes to your representative for this tax thing. Why not find out where your representative is in your city? Find out where they're at, find the phone number, and make a personal phone call to their office and share your thoughts with them. They have people there that are listening to or taking these calls too as well. Sure, it's great that you're sending them that email through CASA. If you're doing that, great. Now pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and call your representative's home office in your city or your state, wherever you're at, and leave a message there. They have people that will answer the phone. And again, be respectful, share your story, share your opinion, let them know that you vape and that you vote, and call them there too as well. Why not, right? That's their job. Their job is to listen to our calls. So just like I said, just be respectful and share your story. And remember, the person that's picking up the phone, that's just their job, guys. So don't attack them. Don't.
Yeah.
But there's one point that I really want to make here.
Yeah.
It's all well and good that you send an email, but if you actually send a handwritten letter to their office, that actually goes into their permanent record. It has to be kept on file while they're in office. Right. It can't get destroyed.
Yeah. Cannot
be destroyed.
Right. Yeah. So get on there. I think I can't remember exactly if there was plenty of websites that you can find out where your representative, every one of your congressmen and your senators, they all have offices within, most, like mine is right here. Who represents North, it's just right here down the street from me. I can walk over there. I can send them a letter. I can call them. They're not always there, but there's always someone there to answer the phone. There's always someone there to listen to your responses. So why not call them as well? And then she can get back, or he, whoever's saying, hey, man, we're getting flooded here, and that's what they need. Those emails are great that you're sending to CASA, but when they hear their people that are working for them say, Jesus Christ, we got 1,500 phone calls today just about this vaping.
What do we do?
Yeah.
And,
what do we do?
And the senators there, he might be out on the road. The senator might be out on the road. And he's getting messages back from the office. We just got 1,500 calls. Excuse me, what happened?
Yeah.
And they might not be aware of what's going on in the background.
Yeah.
If they're out doing what they have to do as a senator, they might not know what's going on.
Right.
If you're getting 1,500 calls to an office about a tax or something that's happening, or a ban that might be coming down the state, but it's another senator within that state doing or pushing that forward, that's going to hurt them in the long run.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not switched on here. 1,500. Ooh, do some quick math. Ooh, that could hurt me in the next election.
Yeah.
Think about it from that perspective.
Yeah, that's an eye opener for him because now that's his constituents. He sees this is coming from his county, his state, his region, and that's a little bit more scarier to him than, a bunch of emails that Kassav sent out that he's probably never really honestly going to see. Am I correct? I mean, they may say, hey, we got blah, blah, blah emails from, I don't know how that all works. So I don't know, but I think a phone call to your state representative now about this tax bill, I think sends a stronger message that this is real and we're tired.
Right. Well, but it's also grossly important to remember why we have to fight a little bit harder now. They did actually, for a period of time, yank this proposal out of the Build Back Better bill briefly, because when it first went in, it was going to be a nicotine tax across the board for all items that contain nicotine. I don't know about NRTs, but
Yeah.
They were finally going to touch cigars, I think, for the first time in a billion years. Like, cigars have always been kind of completely avoided. Now, frankly, I don't really have a problem with people that smoke a stogie every now and again. But point is that they were going to increase the tax on cigarettes as well as smokeless tobaccos. Well, they've now pulled it out, and then they revised it and gave all of those particular items exemptions, except for what? Liquid nicotine and synthetic nicotine, the stuff that we need in our vapes, right? So now they've shoved it back in, and now all the combustible crap and the stuff that's far more harmful in the long run is going to get a pass, okay? And what that means is, and I mentioned it last week, is that the harm reduction tool, the method that we're using to stay away from cigarettes, is going to cost more than the deadly alternative. Okay, and so what does that mean for us? Probably not too much, because we're going to find a way to continue to vape. I'm hoping that is the greater consensus. But for the people that are on the fence, or more recent vapors, or people that struggle to find ways to get their stuff, because we got mail bans now, right? And they might not have vape shops near them. And when they find out that 60 ml bottle is going to cost them like $60, because there's a $40 tax on top of a 60 ml $25 bottle at a vape shop, if they can get to one, they're going to be like, screw this. I'm just going to go get a pack of smokes. And that's where it hurts people in a very detrimental way. So it's going to affect you too, because if you really, like I said last week too, if you really break it down and you think about it, that tax on us, even if we choose to pay it, even if we're like, man, I'll take the hit, I got the money, I have a good job, I can still afford this stuff, if I'm not getting it out of the back of a car somewhere, we're going to be funding the bill, the Build Back Better bill. That's the reason that tax is there. And so if you don't agree with the bill in general, or you agree with the bill in general, you have to remember that there was a promise made. And granted, vaping is a choice. It is a choice, all right? So I'm taking that into consideration, is that one of the promises made in this latest administration is that there would be no new taxes on people below the $400,000 income earning mark. But we're going to get hit with a massive tax because we choose to vape, to stay away from smoking. So there's a lot of reasons why you should fight this, if not for the most obvious reason, and that it's a stupid proposal to begin with. It just doesn't make any sense when you're gonna make the alternative, the safer alternative, more expensive than the thing that we know kills 500,000 people in the U.S. every year.
I'd actually like to be in a room with Raja, right, the senator, regarding the overreach in the letter that he wrote to a synthetic lab. That, to me, is ball breaking at the top level. I'm sorry, but why the hell do you have to hand over all your records and files and who your client base is? I'm sorry, that comes down to IP, intellectual property. What the hell and why? Because we're the innovators. Okay, the vaping industry at Innovators, I don't care what anyone says about that. We are creating life-saving products. We have done for many, many years. And then when we find a better alternative to growing tobacco and extraction, and we're creating it in a laboratory, why the hell should we have to answer to a senator for that? Honestly, why? Why the fuck does he have the right to ask these questions?
He shouldn't have that right.
Next Gen Labs should not hand over any files whatsoever, in my opinion.
Well, I think they ought to pony up and get a lawyer and fight and resist this.
Well, I agree 100% because that was complete overreach when I read that letter. I've read the whole thing and I just went, "Are you joking? Who are going to be your prospective clients?" What? Again, and I'm not bashing on the US, but who the fuck does he think he is that he wants to control technology and moving forward to a safer alternative on a worldwide scale? He's just thinking about the US. It's not. His little flick in the pond is like the butterfly effect. What happens there happens across the world. I'm sorry, but it's overreach.
No, I agree with you, and I mean, and I think underneath the surface of it all, I think that they're trying to protect the interests of massive lobbyists like big tobacco and big pharma and stuff like that. I think that they're driven by other incentives to go on the overt attack on things like this. I mean, I've always believed that in terms of how the government operates at this point is they're not, they prance around like they've got our best interests in mind. But that's not necessarily the case. They're trying to protect something else, and they're not being forthcoming about it.
Big tobacco these days, okay, if you look at the numbers, and Swedish Match, okay, used to garner most of their interest through combustible type situations. They've now switched, and 40% of their income comes now from smokeless products. That makes sense. BAT are following suit. PMI are following suit. It's not that. It's the other side of it. Pharma now, and they've known this for a little while, that once synthetic nicotine comes into the playbook, their products are in jeopardy because GSK were the ones that created nicotine polyacrylics. Okay, their synthetic variation for NRT products, for patches, gums, sprays, the rest of it.
Yeah.
Now we've come up with way better solutions, far cheaper to manufacture in bulk than what they've ever been able to do. And they don't like that fact. Big tobacco are moving away.
I also put the link in there. It's a us.org, gov, I'm sorry, elected officials. It's a great way, easy way to find out who represent you. I understand not everybody does know who that is. So you can, it's real simple to use. Click on the U.S. senators and U.S. representatives. You click on that, you can find out who is your representative. And that'll take you to their page. It'll give you their address of their local office and their phone numbers that they use for messaging. And like I said, guys, keep doing what you're doing with the calls of action. Fill out those things. Share those links on social media with your friends and family. Get them involved. At least try to get them to go over to the CASA page. I think that is a great spot with a lot of knowledge and a lot of information that it's impossible for all of us to have in our heads. And you can send them there and they can read them firsthand. They have some great studies on there. And it's just a way for them to get another look at what's going on without having to deal with all the other nonsense that's out there. So yeah, head on over to US Gov, and you can find your representative and find out where they're at, find out their office and when their office hours are. With COVID, it's going to be impossible, guys. So don't try to make an appointment to have a sit down. He's probably not going to be there anyway. But at least get that phone call into his office. Have them just have those phone lines lit up. Have family, friends, everyone that is involved. I think they should share that. I think every vape shop should have the representative of that county's phone number right there as you come into the vape shop. And I think that would make a huge difference because those people come in, see that number, and call. Go ahead, Tim.
Oh no, I was saying hello to Basement.
Oh, I thought you were like, I got something, John.
No, I didn't want to interrupt. He said, "Hey, everyone," and I just threw up the peace on.
So,
another Canadian in the his house. Yeah, so we understand you guys are fighting flavor bans up there.
As well.
Everybody's got a tough fight ahead. You know, we're all feeling a little hopeless right now, but that's why we're here.
That's right. That's right. So everybody, like I said, just get out there, go do what you have to do, make that phone call, share, get your friends on your personal Facebook page, write up a post like I did, ask them what their concerns are, let them share those concerns with you, and respond to them like an adult. And don't have any fights. Don't get frustrated if you can't convert that person over to our side. It's not about that. It's just about sharing knowledge. And share that knowledge with them and let them make their opinion. And a lot of times you'll be surprised. A lot of these people will jump on our side after they see what's going on. I had lots of my friends that aren't smokers, that aren't vapors, but they are very political people. And when they see what's going on, they themselves said, this is crazy. If they get away with this, what's next? They're actually, that's what a lot of my political friends are surprised at. This is a flavor they're taking away, a flavor. And they're using kids as an excuse and trying to make it look like adults shouldn't like flavors. And that's the simple breakdown of it. It's the nicotine part and all. That's what I want people to focus on. Focus on that freedom that you're being taken away, and they're taking away not poison, it's a flavor. They're telling us that we can't have a flavor now, and that's where you have to draw the line. There's it doesn't matter if it's vaping, coffee, ice cream. It doesn't matter. The government's telling you that you can, like I wrote in my post, they're telling you can only have fucking vanilla now for the rest of your life. You can only have vanilla ice cream, and that's bullshit.
Yeah, well, we all know it's a frivolous argument. It's just It's something that they can easily use to influence people who would rather stop at that particular argument and then take conflated and inflated statistics about how many kids are actually vaping. And we all know that the current 30-day usage by most teenagers or younger people is not daily vaping. It's just they tried it or they take a couple hits here and there, and then they get stuck in a friggin' survey, and then they say, have you used vaping in the last 30 days? And that whether it was one effing day, one puff, and they say yes, they get thrown into that number of current users. Yeah. And that doesn't really quantify the reality of it. No. I wanted to talk on Basement's comment. He made a comment up here. I'll share this one.
You got the power.
Right there. Said the entire industry at this point is just disposables. Is there any course of action to make people care? They didn't care when the nicotine cap was introduced here. Basement, that's always a wonderful question. Is how do we influence people to care? And I think I've just always been of the argument that I think people just don't really understand. They just think that it's going to go away like a weird sound in your car before you have to admit you need to take it to the mechanic to get it fixed. Like oh, it rattled. Okay, today it's not rattling as bad. I guess it's okay. My car's not going to be. And then before you know it, the fucking engine seizes up on you. And I think we're kind of getting to that point, is that people just... There are a lot of people, there are like maybe 3 camps here, or maybe 4, right? You got one camp that is just completely oblivious, right? Like they don't have any clue that anything bad is happening. They're like, hey, I just started vaping, I quit, haven't been smoking for a week and a half. Well, awesome. That's what we want from all of this. But they don't have any inkling that there is doom and gloom coming down the pipeline. there's that group, and then you have this group of people that they're more worried about themselves than they are worried about the greater group, or at least just the collective. The fact of the matter is that they either don't know how to advocate, and they just think it's not. They're talking out their ass. The government's not going to do that. They're not going to take away something like that from me. When the reality is that we are much closer to that point. Then you've got a group of people who care, but they just think that all the advocacy is a waste of time. They're like, why do I do it? Every time I think I should do it, they just take something else away. And the point is that you got to keep the pressure on. You can't just throw in the towel and feel defeated all the time. Even though you feel defeated, you got to continue to fight. And then you've got the other group that is just full on head of steam. This is bullshit. We're not going to take this sitting down, and you're going to fight. So, I mean, I don't know how you spread that out and you get everybody focused on the same goal. I don't know.
You forgot a group in there, Tim.
I did. The milk baggers?
No. Team free shit, where they don't care about nothing but free shit.
Yeah, team free shit.
Yeah, well, but you know, a lot of that stopped now, right?
Yeah,
so I mean, you don't see the
they're
giveaway
still out there somewhere.
Of course.
No, team free shit now. It's all about disposables, and I'm watching this here in Australia. There's still team free shit here, and even though nicotine's illegal in Australia without a prescription, they don't care. And disposables do have their point or their place within the market, okay? But here's the problem with them. What happens with all of the batteries and the circuitry and everything else? They just get tossed to the side. Us that use devices with rebuildable coils, or even coils for that matter, that's the only component of the device that gets thrown away on a regular basis. We understand the other side of it. It's the generation that's coming through under us that are actually now using disposables because they don't understand this technology.
Yeah.
For argument's sake.
Right.
They're the ones that need to be educated.
Yep.
We've been
But how
around
do you
the
go?
block.
How do you go about doing that though, Paul?
That's the really hard thing to try and put
Well,
in
they
the
took
words
that
these
away.
days.
They took that away from the vape shop is the problem. The vape
Thank
shop
you.
can't help you anymore. And that
No.
was the goal in the beginning. That was to limit that ability to share that knowledge on how to move from those disposables to the open pod system is ended with that regulation.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that regulation should be shut out and completely wiped off the board.
Mm.
But if vape shops that are still there in the background selling devices, they should have one of their friends sit at the end of the counter and help people transition from a pod system into MTL, into like smaller tank systems, and then the ultimate is RTAs or RDTAs, where you can actually learn to build and change out your own coils. And that was the progression that we used to go through. Disposables were never really around in the, like, going back to 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. Disposables started to become a thing, and pod systems. That was the real change. That was the whole change in the marketplace. And then all the other companies jumped on board and said, well, we can do this way cheaper. We can do it in X amount of flavors, pennies on the dollar to manufacture this product instead of making a device. Device manufacturers now, and for that matter, tank designers, builders, things like that, they're all hesitant as to what to bring to the market. The biggest resurgence that I've seen, and all the other companies starting to create said devices, are Boro-style devices or Boro-style tanks that will fit into multiple devices. Inikin took the initiative of creating a coil that will fit in multiple tanks. That was a game changer when they did that back in 2017. and they're moving forward, and they're moving faster than the majority of the other companies. Geek Vape did it for a point. They've been doing it as well. There are companies there that are listening, but still one of the biggest companies in China, or manufacturers, small, and there's Small and Relics. Both of them are listed on the stock exchange. They've got shareholders. They need to, answer to their shareholders.
Yeah.
Same as what a tobacco company was once upon a time. But now, they're scared of what's going to come down the pipeline. The United States will hopefully see their wrong ways, and a certain person, Bloomberg, and his misinformation and the funding, since I think it was 2012 or 2013, he's pumped in $1 billion into the WHO and the FCTC to change the narrative.
Yeah.
It's scary when you look at it from the other side of the picture.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I don't understand is this craze with the disposable and this new market and these people jumping. Who's promoting these devices? Because I don't see them anywhere. That's what I don't get. How are these people seeing these new devices? Because no one's really plugging them anywhere.
Again, two platforms, Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
Both
TikTok.
of them are responsible, and I mean this, both of them are responsible now for so much damage. TikTok especially.
Yeah.
And you will see new pod devices and disposables there every second of the day.
No, that's weird, because I'm being completely honest, and I don't know, maybe it's just what I look for on Instagram or on TikTok, but I have yet to see a vaping device or someone vaping on a TikTok video that I have seen on my page, on my thing. So I don't know if it's just something I've never typed in vape in there. So most of the things I look at are pranks and stuff like that, but I've never.
There you go. No, Basement's 100% right.
Yeah.
Bang. And
I've seen a couple people doing like cleaning and rewicking RDAs and talking about like the Colorado and some other stuff on TikTok, but nothing that would constitute as like trying to sell to anybody.
Yeah.
They're there.
They're there. They're all over my.
Seen them.
Yeah, they're all over my Instagram account, but my account is basically vape related, so everything I see is vape related on my feed. But even there, I don't know. Maybe the disposable companies aren't paying the top photographers to take pictures of disposable stuff, but I don't see any. I see right now, if I were to open my Instagram account, there's 3 companies that I see nonstop putting stuff out. Dot, Hell Vape, and oh god damn it, just lost it. I just lost it. It's Dot, Hell Vape, and it's one of the big boys, but it's more mech, I think. I'd have to look here.
Oh, Geek Vape's there as well.
I don't see any Geek Vape shit on my thing, thank God. Nothing against Geek Vape, but I don't see any Geek Vape stuff on my feed. But Dot is relentless. Dot is turning into Smock. I'm sorry, Dot, but it seems like every month you got something new coming out, and you're adding a screen here, or you're adding this here. But I can't remember the other company. It's Hell Vape. Hell Vape is nonstop, and Dot, and what is the other company? Oh, it's
now he's just found it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of this company for the life of me. It's mech related though, so it's
Bear with us. John's having a senior moment.
Purge.
It might be Purge. It might be Purge that I'm seeing a lot of on my feed. But yeah, I don't see any, like, I go through. Oh, I'm sorry, Dapo.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
They're not so much mech though.
no, but right
No.
now they're pushing that new mech mod of theirs.
Oh.
So yeah,
Well, Dotpo's got a lot of devices out on the market.
yeah.
I mean, they're definitely not a slouch in the industry.
No, yeah, but I can go through my whole news feed and I will not see one single. Actually, yeah, I don't see one single. Oh, there we go. We got one guy that posted a lost vape device.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So that's what I'm just wondering. I know with Puff Bar being as big as it is, and supposedly supposed to be off the market.
No.
Where are all these other new devices? Because I have seen some new ones just walking around here in Modesto, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, who makes that? And it's some off the wall name I've never heard from before. And maybe I should start asking them, you know, how'd you find this device? Is it word of mouth? Did you get it? Was it promoted to you, or did you just walk into the convenience store and it was the first thing you saw?
I just chose not to go down the disposable wormhole just because of the costs associated to it. I couldn't justify spending that money for something that's, you know, you're going to end up chucking in the trash. But I mean, I think that is that really the answer? Is just people just like the convenience of it and you know, just I can go get what I want. I vape it till it's done, throw it away, and then go get another one. Is we just live in a disposable industry anymore, where people just find it easier to deal with that than having to deal with all the extra crap that comes with a more, you know, I would want to say not user friendly, but more involved vape with a tank and refilling it and replacing a coil and dealing with a mod and batteries, and easier just to throw something away. I don't know. Is that the answer?
That's what's happening, Tim. People are getting lazy. The older vapors we still have devices.
Yeah.
For argument's
Anybody
sake,
here Ghost? Anybody here of
Yeah,
Ghost?
I know who they are. But Caliburn, okay, yes, it's a replaceable pod.
Yeah.
And it's also a replaceable coil system. So be it. I'm down for that. Okay.
Right.
It's not a disposable device as such. These, like anything that's got an internal battery, like SX Mini, that's got an internal battery. But this is like one of the new auto squonks that I'm playing with, and brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You can change everything out. You can do your coils the whole 9 yards. Aspire, I still respect them. I respect Inikin with what they're doing and their whole program of the Z coil.
Yeah.
And interchangeability.
Right.
But disposables become, how would you put it? It's ease.
Yeah, convenience.
It's ease of use and convenience. But you're paying $20 for a device that has like 3 mils of liquid in it. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way with me. Sorry.
I did in the beginning. I thought it was. I remember when the first device I had, I thought it was a pain in the ass to have to carry that bottle around. And back then, it was a 15 mil bottle. Let's be honest, it was 15 mil. So, and if I was bitching back then, carrying that extra 15 mil bottle, I can imagine what people. Why I could kind of see how you don't want to carry a 120 mil bottle, but dude, you don't need to carry a 120 mil bottle with you all day.
I used to carry a liter bottle in my backpack so I could give friends liquid. Fuck off.
Yeah, it's ridiculous for them to complain about. Oh, I got to see a Pinot. To see them complain about having to carry that extra bottle around, you know, and I'm just like thinking to myself, dude, how much do you vape? Do you really need to have a 120 mil bottle in your pocket the whole day? No, you could get it. You could buy a 30 mil disposable bottle and just fill it up and then put the thing back on it. That's it.
People are lazy.
Yeah. I mean, and I can understand back in the day, things weren't sealed properly. Let's just call it what it is. Let's be honest. We have all had fucking juice in our pockets because
Sure.
an RTA leaked or a sub-ohm tank leaked, or you had bad coils, or an O-ring went bad and you didn't see it, or you forgot to put the O-ring back on. But these days, a lot of this new stuff is pretty well designed. They're not leaking. They're very seldom do. If you lay an RTA down on its side, it's probably going to leak. I don't care how well wicked you did it. If you lay it on its side, it's probably going to leak. But I get that back then. We didn't want to. We were always worried about getting our hands sticky and having that. Walking around smelling like a fucking fruit stand all day. But I don't think you have to worry about that much. Yeah, exactly. That's how I leave. Unless now I have my funny story, but I had my device in my pocket. And for some reason, I had my bottle too, but for some reason, I thought I put the cap back on the bottle and I didn't. So I put it in my pocket and I'm heading over to an old fashioned barbershop. Now, this is a barbershop with old men in it, the whole 9 yards, if you even smell like the wrong thing, they're going to rip you. So but that whole bottle kind of leaked in my pocket. So I walked in, I smelled like fucking strawberries. Like I just took a bath in strawberries. When I walked into that barber shop, I had every old guy just like, hey, what did you do? Hey, you like that perfume? You smell like a girl. I'm just turning around. I go, I'd rather smell like this than the way you smell.
Right.
Oh,
I totally
I don't
agree.
know. I wish there was a way to convey to the people that are all about the convenience aspect of puff bars. Now, again, I have to go back to the higher level statement, and that is if you found something that you can vape on that keeps you away from smoking, then that's the success. So I'm not trying to knock people who have chosen disposable pod systems or puff bars as a way to stay away from smoking. I think that is a massive success in its own right. Maybe we can scrutinize a little bit more from within the industry or within the community, because we are longer time vapors and we're people that didn't have those things available coming up over that time period. But I wish there was a way to convey to people that seem to just have so much disposable cash that they can just keep up with a habit like puff bars and things like that, when you can say, but you could sacrifice the hassle portion of it. If refilling it is such a pain in the butt, here, let me give you a cost ratio savings element that we can take a look at here. So if you're fiscally responsible or fiscally, you look at, how you manage your budget, you can do something like this for about a third to half the cost that you can with just replenishing on puff bars all the time, because there are AIOs and small systems like Disposables out there that are portable, that you can take around with you, that if the only component of it is a periodic coil change and a refill, I don't think that's that much of a sacrifice when you can look at how much money you'll keep in your pocket in the end. Now, the vape tax, if it goes through, is going to blow that completely out of the fucking water. I mean, that's just going to train wreck everybody. So even the happy-go-lucky disposable people are going to be like, holy shit, they're going to walk in the vape shop one day and they're going to go, yeah, let me get that cherry cola and that blueberry, and the clerk's going to slap it up on the counter, and they're going to throw a number out there that they're not really ready for. And he's like, I just want those two, not the whole case. That's not the whole case, bro. That's two. That's just, I had the same experience in New York City when I went, and I was still smoking at the time, and I went in to buy a pack of fucking cigarettes, and went to the counter, and I said, yeah, can I get a pack of whatever it was? And the girl goes, that'll be 10 something. And I said one, not two.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, that's how much one costs. Yeah. And I was like, you got to be shitting me. Now, I mean, I was coming from a state where they were like $4.50, $4.75, whatever. I was not prepared for that. But that's what it's going to be like for vaping, is that those people just don't have any clue what's coming down the pike. So I just wish that there was a way that you could make an impact. You might not be able to say things that promote vaping or imply that they're better or they're healthier for you or whatever. We're not allowed to say those things, but I certainly can try to put some money back in your pocket, and I think
Yeah.
that would resonate with the average person. But maybe I'm just stupid, and people just have disposable cash just falling out of their pocket. I'm like, here, fuck it. I'll help save you half of it. You can give me the other half if you just don't want to be attached to that money. How about that?
Oh, I mean, shit, $20 a
Catch
pop.
me outside.
You catch me outside. 25 bucks for one device that lasts you maybe 2 days. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, you think of the amount of juice you can buy. If you do that route, you could buy yourself a new device every month. Seriously, you could buy yourself juice and a new device every month, and just collect them if you're willing to spend. Because some of them, I think I bought a couple of them to do a thing on the show a while ago, and the one that I bought was from Banger. Is that the name? Banger?
I have
Bang,
no
bang,
idea.
bang,
Okay.
Oh,
bang,
Bang.
bang
Yeah.
disposables. I think it was the name of it.
Yeah, they don't taste too flash.
Yeah, it was. I forget who. Yeah, it was a company called. I think the company's name was Bang, and it lasted me maybe 2 days. I don't know how many puffs I got out of it because it doesn't tell me, but I got 2 days out of the damn thing, and I'm thinking that just cost me $22, and I'm thinking, God, how much juice could I have bought with $22 and put it in my own device? Yeah,
Well, that's the point I'm making. Is
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
just don't. I just can't quite wrap my mind around the idea that someone is willing to just go frivolously pay a bunch of cash for the sake of convenience
Yeah.
when you can give them an equal experience for far less money if
Yeah.
they're willing to just deal with a couple components that they're just sort of pawning off like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to refill my tank every 3 to 4 mil or like when. Fucking when.
Whinge.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fucking relax, man.
It's
Grow the fuck up and
Yeah.
learn to do something.
I mean, we're not in the silica days. I mean, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we have advanced. I mean, there are some, honestly, even some of the new factory coils that are come out have really stepped up their game, and they're
Oh.
using better cotton. They have figured out how tightly. I mean, it's a science. They even figured out how tight they need to pack the cotton in there and how much cotton needs to go in there to avoid leaking and all this other stuff. I mean, it doesn't happen that much anymore.
Okay. In what you just said there,
Yeah.
we're all pot smokers, like growing up, right?
Yeah,
It's how much you could pack into your cone, right? Back
Right.
then. It's the same fucking analogy.
it's the same.
I'm sorry, but it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it's when you build an RC8, how much cotton you put in there, whether or not you get a dry hit.
Right.
Oh.
And for me, the excitement of in the beginning as making that transition, the excitement for me was just making my own coils. I thought that was in the beginning, not so much anymore. I kind of still do find it interesting, but in the beginning, I thought that was the coolest thing. I thought to myself, the first thing I thought of was, I just spent $5 for 100 feet of this wire. And I'm thinking to myself, how long is 100 feet of fucking wire going to last me? And I'm thinking, yeah. And I'm thinking, wow. And then when I stepped into, I bought my cotton. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is cheap.
Yeah.
I had so much cotton. I thought to myself, I'm never in my lifetime going to use all this cotton. And I got 200 sheets for like, I think back then it was $12 for 200 sheets of fucking cotton. And
I actually found some of my old Muji, and I re-wicked something with it last night, and I went, oh man, I miss this stuff.
Yeah. And for me too, it helped me at night, because that was the thing. I had my weakness was night. At nighttime is when I really had that urge for a cigarette in the beginning. And instead of having that urge, I grabbed that spool of wire and I just started making coils. and I would throw them in this mason jar. And I would make 3 mil coils. I would make 2 millimeter diameter coils. I would make friggin' twisted coils. And I had all these jars and my hands would hurt from making coils in the middle of the night, but I didn't have a cigarette. And that was more important to me than anything, was just being able to get my mind to go somewhere else,
Basement. When was the first time, right, that you actually got an electric drill out or a cordless drill? You stuck a bit of wire in it and you hung on to it the other end and you twisted your first bit of wire and you went, oh wow, I just made something. This is cool as fuck.
Yeah. I thank God for Rip. I mean, I learned to make a Clapton from Rip's channel. And I was just like, I looked at him doing it. I go, I could fucking do that. I could do that. I did. I was like, that's simple. And of course, it was still kind of hard. I did waste a lot of wire in the beginning until I got it all down.
Yeah, but $5.
Yeah, $5
as to a pack of coils.
Yeah. I mean, that first order I did at Lightning Vapes, I think that whole order was maybe $60, and I got 26 gauge. I got 24 gauge. I got 38 gauge. I got 36 gauge. I forget how many, and I had everything that I saw on his desk, I ordered. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And when I saw him do the Clapton, I said, I want to do this. And I remember still to this day how great that first Clapton coil I vaped on. And it was just like, wow, this is holy shit. I go, this is night and day difference from that stupid Kangertech coil that I was using that whole time. And I was like, yeah, you remember? So I was like, okay, the Kangertech coil, it was decent. They had some leaking issues in the beginning. But when I made that first Clapton and I put it in my Starla RDA and I hit that thing for the first time, I was like, wow, where did all that flavor come from? That wasn't what I was getting out of that factory coil. It was good, but not like this. This was just night and day difference. I tasted the strawberry, I tasted the caramel, I tasted the milk. I was like, okay, I'm never going back, and I'm never going back to factory coils after that.
Well, okay, go back to 2015 when UL released the very first Crown, the Crown 1.
Yeah.
That was a game changer because that was around the time that both Aspire and Kanga were working on vertical coils.
Right.
But Crown nailed it.
Yeah.
And they were the first ones, well, they were one of the first ones in the real sub-ohm race that I remember.
Yeah.
And they were the ones that went to 0.5 as a factory coil.
Yeah.
And that had great flavor.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, this is cool. Yeah, hang on.
Yeah. In the beginning, it was the only hard part in the beginning, Paul, and I'm sure you'll agree with the Aspire,
Rose gold crown, like
that's the Crown. Yeah, that looks just like the Aspire
the original Crown 1.
Yeah.
I've got 20 of these actually. I used to use these for flavor testing when I was mixing liquids for clients.
Yeah.
And that was actually sent to me by UL as a gift years ago. I've only used it a few times, but yeah, it still rocks. But back then, everything changed. 2015, 2016, it was night and day. There was the wattage wars. It was the liquid wars. It was the device wars, and it was a race from who was it? Vapor Shark with the DNAs being able to go to 200 watts.
Yeah,
it was the first one to 200 watts.
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
Yeah,
and we've gone so far in such a short period of time.
Yeah,
when you think about it.
Yeah. The thing that was tough in the beginning for me, and I'm sure it was for you when we were learning to make coils, is the limitation of our devices, because some of our devices didn't go that low. You were stuck at 2. Remember, it was 2. Was it 2? I think it was 2 for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. And then
Yeah,
1.6,
1.6.
1.6 was Aspire,
Yeah,
and that was the original Nautilus coils.
yeah, and
And then-
Pioneer was the same way. I think Pioneer was 1.6. Yeah,
Pioneer IP,
for you.
yeah, Pioneer, IPV, and Yeehee. That's the same company.
Yeah,
And Aspire now, with their 0.7 like Nautilus coils,
yeah,
that was a game changer when they released them a little while ago.
yeah,
But you can run these down at what, 20 watts.
yeah.
I still like vaping low, but
But how pissed off were you when you were making your coils? You put them in your RDA and you put them on your device, and it said low
Yeah.
low resistance. You had
I-
to put-
do you know how many I threw out the window? I thought
Yeah.
the fucking device was broken. I'm like,
I was pulling my hair. I was like, no, damn it. Get the wire back out again. Wrap another one. Okay, let me try 6 wraps on a 2 mil. Let me see if that gets me down to where I need to be.
and then watching Phil Basado and learning temp control because I had early Yeehee devices back then. Learning temp control, and then I was messing around with titanium and stainless. And when I first started messing around with stainless around the same time, around 2015, 2016, I thought, wow, this sucks.
Yeah.
It's too low. So another 2 wraps, but then I couldn't fit it in a 22 mil RDA, like single coil RDA. So I had to figure that out. So, and then I found doing Claptons with a stainless core and nichrome, or actually it was Canthal outer with a stainless inner to get the resistance up a little bit higher so it'd actually fire. And I thought, this sucks. And then I thought, how do I do this?
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with temp control. I got frustrated to the point where I was just done. I was like, I'm not gonna. I can't get. I was always off just a little bit, and it wouldn't work. And I was just like,
Well,
I'm done.
there's a point at which temp control actually does its job, and then there's a point at which temp control you've exceeded what its benefits are, and then it's counterproductive, and you might as well just go to straight power. So, I mean, there is a bit of a niche for it. I have it on my Lost Vape Triad. I use temp control with stainless steel. And then I also use it on one other. It might be my D7 that I use it on, but I haven't used those devices in a while. But I tried not to push the limit on it. Like the temperature that it would get up to was about under where it probably should sit, and then from there you would just mess with the power at that point.
We're talking about in the beginning when you can only use nickel, and it was just a pain in the fucking ass. And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I thought it was going to be the next thing. And I didn't usually buy 100 feet of anything, but I figured, okay, temp, I'm going to dig into this. So I bought 100-foot spool of that nickel, and I still have it. It's like 10 years old. I just threw it up against the wall. I was like, fuck you. I'm done. I'm done. Oh, I was just off just a little bit, and I'd have to take that. I can't cut the coil. I can't do nothing. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm finished. I'm done. We are going to jump into news and advocacy with Mr. Tim Swift. So let me give Tim his bumper. And where is Tim's bumper? Right there.
Sorry, I was dealing with hair questions of all things on a vape show. I got people worried about whether or not I'm fucking eating hair. There's protein in hair, so I mean, I guess there is some health benefits to it. But actually, I don't have a problem with it in my face or my mouth nearly as much. I've had my hair this long for such a long time that I think I've kind of don't even notice that. What I end up doing the majority of the time is unclogging the shower drain.
Yeah,
it looks like I pull a whole nother me out of the fucking drain, or the dead cat, something. But yeah, it gets a little hairy.
That's nasty. It
gets a little hairy.
Yeah, it gets a little hairy. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
There's a TikTok video where the dad takes all the hair from the drain and writes with the hair on the shower wall, I cleaned the drain, and it's all his daughter and his wife's hair. It's fucking gross.
It's insane though. You don't really realize how much hair falls out of your head
do.
every now and again with her. I have a question before I start the news. I'm just checking for someone in the comment in the chat. I don't know if they're still here, but they were here. Is Kyle still in the show? Are you still watching the show, Kyle?
Kyle
From the ZampleBox Family Member Lounge.
Come on,
I know
Tim,
he was
do
in the
Ferris-
YouTube comments earlier. I just want to see
Ferris Bueller thing. Do the Ferris Kyle.
Bueller or Kyle. Well, it doesn't sound right if you say Kyle.
it doesn't.
Is it Folger? Folger.
Oh.
Folger. If he's still here, if Kyle, if you hear this, don't go too far. I mentioned to the guys some of the issues that you're having with your RTA, and if you're still listening or you're still watching the show and you're still around, we're going to try to get you a little bit of help from a remote location. From our remote locations, we're going to try to offer you some advice to help make that RTA experience better for you, bud. So I just didn't want you to wander too far. If you're not here, try to catch us on the next one. When we see your name, we'll take note of it and we'll try to help you out. That's something that we talked about before the show a little bit, just kind of threw a light idea out there. But we were thinking about maybe introducing a segment called Help a Vapor on the show. So if anybody on the show that watches the show regularly, or you're new to the show, and you have a specific question about your device or the method you're using, or you're looking for some help in some segment of it, we'll try to isolate you on one person each show and try to help you as much as we can. We got a lot of collective experience here with the four of us, and we're more than happy to help out because we're not just an advocacy show. We're about helping people with their vape journey and progression and stuff like that. So if you hit us up on the Wednesday Night Live Twitter page, or hit us up on the email address and send us your questions, or we'll be paying attention. A lot of us are in those groups anyway.
Join the Wednesday Night Live Facebook, Wednesday Night Live TV Facebook group page, and you can post pictures on there as well. And there's plenty of people there as well that can help you. Too.
And we'll take that example and we'll make that part of our Help a Vapor segment.
That's
all right. So let's talk about some news.
What was that?
It's a really big show. Did you? I heard something that Ed Sullivan never really ever kind of said that or something like that. Like, that wasn't his catch line. But at any rate, it was interesting trivia. I'll have to look more into that. But we're going to talk about some news. So I want to talk about something that's been happening this past week. I know Scope was a big thing that was going on. That was people, advocates from the vape industry who were from the global industry that were getting together and talking about THR and advocacy and all that other stuff. And then you had the counterproductive meeting of the minds that was going on behind closed doors in a remote location, and that was the World Health Organization. They're really the head of the dragon on a lot of what goes on in terms of tobacco policy and how countries have made the decisions to regulate in their countries. And the majority of that is not so much, we don't really see so much regulation on tobacco and the combustible products that are readily available all the time. They've gone more on the offensive in terms of tobacco harm reduction and kind of squashing the whole vape fight. Now, most recently, I believe it was between the 8th of this month, and it'll be between the 8th and the 13th of this particular month. That's when the WHO's SCTC framework the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control gets together for their annual meeting, which is called COP, and they're numbered at that point. They are on their 9th meeting at this point, and it's called the Conference of the Parties. And what that means is that there are countries that are signed on as part of the FCTC treaty committee, right? So there's 180 countries that are all piled into this group that take guidance from the FCTC or the WHO not the band, about tobacco control. So they go into these meetings, and these are sort of like their big think tanks where they sit down and they discuss evidence, and then they come up with ideas and suggestions to drive policy that comes down from the FCTC. But because they sign on to this particular committee and they're members of it, whatever decisions come out of those meetings is they're obligated to abide by those recommendations, suggestions, policies, whatever's decided upon. So that sort of quantifies the policy on tobacco in all of those countries. So they're having their little meeting right now. I think it's ongoing. Unfortunately, we can't watch it, so we can't watch any live streams of it because they're doing it behind closed doors. If you go out on Twitter, you got all these friggin' anti-supportive FCTC groups that are warning people about the vape industry meddling in the COP9 meetings, like we're a big deterrent, like we're showing up, like protesting critical race theory or something like that. It's not necessarily about that, but they think we're meddlers. I feel like I'm on a horrible episode of Scooby fucking Doo, and it's like they want to tackle us and rip our masks off, damn you whippersnappers, just I feel like they want to come after us. So my note was COP9, Conference of the Parties associated to the WHO's FCTC Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, are having their annual meeting to discuss tobacco policy among member countries. There's 180 countries, to be exact, that are involved or signed on to that treaty. And I mentioned that the meeting was online. It's also behind closed doors, so there's no, even though we can't
media.
Right, no media at all. Right, no media at all. So we can't. There's no participation from the outside world into this particular meeting. But the issue that you have more predominantly over the whole entire thing is that no component, element, or division of the vapor industry or the smokeless tobacco industry was invited to take part in the discussions or the meetings to try to help influence policy or provide evidence from a different perspective to try to drive the harm reduction angle in terms of these particular types of products as life-saving. So completely shut the vapor industry out. We have no say in anything that's going on. So that in and of its own right is horribly detrimental. Because without equal time, without that balanced conversation, whatever policies come out of these particular meetings could have a massive impact on the industry in general, and it could also have some serious consequences for tobacco harm reduction in general, just in general, specifically affecting the demographic of lower and middle income families, because that's where you find the majority of smokers and people who indulge in those particular types of sin products, like tobacco and smokeless tobacco and things like that. So you take away the harm reduction methods from those communities, and eventually you're just going to have people that are going to stay terminally ill and sick, potentially affect people in their families, as well as die. Right. I mean, that's the end game right here with most of this, is that we know that is an outcome of this particular indulgence. So the long and short of it is, at these meetings, the parties hear evidence and discuss and decide on policies moving forward. And due to the treaty agreement, whatever decisions are made, those 180 countries must abide by those decisions to implement those policies. So that everybody's bound by it. So that's why we say it's the head of the dragon. And money gets pumped into the FCTC. Bloomberg pumps money into the FCTC. There's all kinds of money going in that's not for the greater good. It's basically to try to help influence the decisions that come out of those meetings. One of the directors, or the director of the UK Vaping Industry Association, his name is John Dunn, and I apologize. Hold on, let me share my screen. I wanted
you got
to
it. You got it. Control.
I wanted, yeah. Well, hold on. I can share myself, can I?
Yeah, baby.
That's pretty freaking cool. I got the power. Anyway. So I wanted to read John Dunn's comment. Let me see if I can find it really fast. All right. So this is John Dunn, the director of the United Kingdom Vaping Industry Association, the UKVIA. He said, despite the treaty's commitment to harm reduction, the WHO and FCTC have never embraced e-cigarettes, but have instead called for excessive regulations, he said. In their relentless opposition to vaping and other reduced risk products, the FCTC Secretariat and the COP have become a threat to global public health. And that's a very valid point, because we know that if we could convert people from smoking to vaping or using far more less harmful products, that we could in fact save billions of lives in effect. But while the FCTC and the WHO and the COP talk about how they want some level of harm reduction, they don't entertain e-cigarettes and things of that nature. I don't know what their views are necessarily on heat not burn products. I know that they're still kind of a gray space kind of item, but I know that they have gained some support in other foreign countries. And then I'm going to guess the majority of them are probably looking down the angle of NRTs, gums, patches, lozenges, things like that. That would be probably the things that they would more than likely support. I also hear a lot of conversation lately. I don't know what it means for the future of the tobacco industry. I just don't see it coming to fruition, as you hear a lot of the conversations surrounding VLN, which not quite sure I understand exactly what VLN stands for, but in layman's terms, what it means is they would like to put out or force the tobacco industry to create lower nicotine cigarettes, thinking that if people are getting less nicotine in their cigarettes, that they're more inclined to be able to quit easier or not smoke nearly for as long a period of time if the quote unquote the addictive component isn't involved at a level that keeps people addicted. But that doesn't answer one important question, which is nicotine doesn't cause cancer and nicotine doesn't kill. The problem that you have with cigarettes is the 4,000 to 7,000 other random carcinogens and chemicals that are put into cigarettes that are the drastic harm to the individual. So, they're looking at this, I think, from a frivolous perspective, in that, lowering nicotine content is going to get people to not smoke as much, as long, or potentially quit a lot faster. You're still allowing that human being to put those chemicals into their body on a regular basis, and that's what ends up clogging up your lungs and adding the tar and all that stuff, and then ends up potentially being the cause of death, if not, cancer getting to you at that point. So I thought that was an important statement to make. Clive Bates, who's a rather affluent person on Twitter and the Twitterverse, who provides what do they say? Loads in Australia. Loads of information about tobacco harm reduction, specifically vaping. But he's the director of an organization called Counterfactual, which is a public interest policy consulting and analytical advocacy organization. He pointed out that basically with COP that there's a bunch of groupthink in the tobacco control world, noting that one of its top awards that they gave away was given to an Indian doctor who spearheaded the banning of e-cigarettes in India. So that person got an award for basically eradicating tobacco harm reduction in that country, but preserving cigarettes, because you can still smoke in India. They don't have any problems with people who want to smoke. Yeah, go ahead and light them if you got them in India. He also took opposition to the propagated gateway theory that the WHO stands on as one element of their prohibitionist agenda. He said there's no evidence for the gateway effect. The money is to be made from committed smokers switching to vaping and e-cigarettes rather than from attracting new customers. Lost my place. Behavioral scientist, I hope I can say this right. She's Kiwi. Marewa Glover.
Yep.
Marewa, am I saying that?
Dr. Mawea Glover.
Mawea, okay. Points out that over the last 3 decades, tobacco control has become more prohibitionist in its focus. The government's purpose has moved from reducing harm to preventing normalization of vaping. There are now more barriers to switching for people who smoke, and lower levels of access to harm reduction products for people in rural and remote areas. So there are a lot of people that would be massive benefits to a balanced conversation in these COP9 meetings. But we're obviously all the science that we can put on the table, they'll turn a blind eye to all that. When you just have the one bastion out there of the UK government who's basically warmly embraced vaping and normalized it and brought it into a much safer place for everybody to get off of smoking. Dr. Kagosi Letlape, I hope I'm saying that right, Kagosi Letlape, co-founder of African Harm Reduction Alliance, believes that South Africa will face even more significant issues as it continues to treat vaping and reduced harm products as equivalent to cigarettes by law. So these are all the angles that these people are taking. I mean, if this doesn't infuriate you to want to fight, when you see that when you realize as a human being, as an individual, that you've made a great choice in your life to walk away from cigarettes by choosing vaping as the harm reduction method, which we know is safer, to understand that countries are basically saving cigarettes and trying to equate vaping as being as lethal or as dangerous as smoking. So they're saving the cash cow, and they're trying to get rid of the little redheaded stepchild, which is the light, more or less. Harm reduction products don't just benefit the user, they benefit those around them as well. Well, that's true too. That's a valid statement in the sense that they don't get the secondhand smoke, and that person that is chosen vaping as the alternative is probably going to stick around and be around in those people's lives a lot longer. So they're not going to lose that loved one that they might lose to cigarettes over a period of time. Clive Bates pointed out the prohibitionist approach is completely baseless, completely counterproductive, and completely against the best interests of public health. My takeaway on this article was I just said it's quite sad that the vapor and smokeless tobacco industries were eliminated from the meeting and were prevented from offering a balanced and equal time position on the benefits of those products to smokers on a global level. So there's that. That's what's going on right now. We're basically shut out of the conversation once again, and we were not given a seat at the table. We're seen as meddlers and
Criminals.
What's the word I'm looking for? When you invade a country, what do they call you?
Occupiers.
Occupiers. They see us as occupiers. So at any rate, I don't know. We're all gonna have to
Vikings. We're Vikings.
We're all gonna have to go Red Dawn on them. We're just gonna have Wolverines. So, at any rate, so there's that one. So be mad, folks. Be mad at the WHO, the World Health Organization, and be mad at the FCTC because they're really the tip of the ship. They're the ones breaking the ice and driving all this horrible policy. So let's move on to something that I thought it was an interesting article, just to kind of see what people fight for at times. I think sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles. I think that we've chosen a fantastic battle to fight. I'll die on this hill if that's what it takes. But let's talk about something that's a little bit more impactful in this world and the strife that people deal with when it comes to the consumables market, right? So I just want everyone to know that in Quebec, Canada, smoking on stage is not a form of artistic expression. Just want to make that abundantly clear. So this was an interesting article. It has nothing to do with vaping. You could probably insert vaping into this at some point because I thought, I wondered if you could use a mechanism like this to solve the problem. But more recently here in November, and I'll say it right, I believe it's Quebec. It's not Quebec, it's Quebec. You don't. The U is almost silent in that particular, or non-existent, even though it's in there. A Quebec judge has rejected the argument from 3 Quebec City theaters that allowing actors to smoke on stage during performances is a form of artistic expression protected by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The ruling was handed down on November 9th, and Justice Yannick Couture upheld fines of $500 that were assessed by the Provincial Health Ministry inspectors between 2017 and 2019 after complaints from the public. So people were settling in for a wonderful evening at the theater, and somebody lit up a cigarette on stage.
Son of a bitches.
God, just sent me right into secondhand smoke hell, right?
To be
or not to smoke or not to smoke. That is the question. You're right. So that said, in each case, actors lit up cigarettes of sage. Sage.
better.
I'll have you know, instead of tobacco. But get this, folks. According to Quebec's Tobacco Control Act, any product that does not contain tobacco and is intended to be smoked is considered to be tobacco. Wow. So even though these people didn't light up a legit cigarette that was tobacco based with nicotine in it, they smoked a sage cigarette. I'm gonna guess it's like a clove or something like that. That they still could be fined because that sage cigarette. It's the act of it, right? So surprisingly, the theaters were shocked and disappointed by the decision, going so far as to call them unacceptable. Ooh. Now, we have to understand it from the actors and the directors and the theater's perspective, in that Anne-Marie Glover, Olivier said that we put in place a while process to be credible so the audience believes us. So the way the theaters look at this is that by actually lighting up a physical combustible item, that it offers another level of realism into the performance. Yeah. That you can't take something seriously when that element of realism has been removed. Yeah. There was a bit of the article. I'll get into that here in a second. But she also said that's part of the freedom of expression of directors and playwrights. When we do that, it's not gratuitous. It's truly a part of the representation of real life. And then again, the judge rejected the opinion that it's an act of artistic expression. But I think in the case of this lady, they explained what happened here. Hold on, I'll read what happened. Okay, here. This is one of them. So Olivier said that in the case of the play that was being performed at her theater at the time of the fine, real smoking was an important part of the narrative. It was a character who'd quit smoking and then started up again. That showed the extent to which this character had broken down. So I completely understand where they're coming from. Yeah. In that, I mean,
it's
what
part
harm
of the storyline. It's part of, yeah.
Exactly. And so I do understand where they're coming from. But according to how Canadian law works in those particular instances, they're seeing it as tobacco, and you're using it in a place where it's not allowed.
Yeah, that's. I wonder when it's going to happen. Eventually, I think it'll get to it. But when do you think that, like, even movies, they're going to stop having people smoke?
I mean, I think that's different in this. It's different
in contact with it.
Yeah, there's. I mean, the only people exposed to that cigarette are people in the area of the actor that's actually using that. I don't think that cigarettes are such a taboo, in the sense that using them in a movie, you would find too many people that will take indifference to that.
Yeah.
I think the reason why this one's so sensitive is just simply because of the fact that it's in a closed building, probably in these smaller theaters. and people are seeing it on stage, and they're like, "Well, I that shouldn't be allowed. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't smoke in here. I don't want cigarette smoke around me. I've got my kids here, and I don't want them exposed to this." And they're gonna complain, and they
Yeah.
do. Obviously,
Yeah.
you've got a few Karens and Chads out there, so
got a
we're not
couple-
happy.
There's a couple Karens everywhere, even in Canada, Tim.
I'm sure. I'm sure Karens are a global phenomenon. So the judge recommended alternative items or props to simulate the act of smoking without breaking the public health rules. So, he did say that, you could use simulation or some kind of a prop that kind.
Vape device.
I started thinking, like, why not use like a blue or like an Enjoy that kind of looks a little bit like a cigarette? At least it has that view of it. But the directors kind of pointed out that, like, when you see somebody using this thing that kind of lights up on the end, that
Right.
the moment that the person watching that take place, it immediately loses the realistic effect of it.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, you're just using this fake thing that's supposed to
Yeah.
pretend to be a cigarette," and it discredits it almost immediately.
Yeah.
This comment came from, I believe it came from the judge. Nothing in the legislation in question prevents the exercise of artistic freedoms or to be able to deliver the soul of a theatrical performance. I think that was the couture's statement, in the sense that there's nothing in the legislation that prevents the exercise of those freedoms. You just can't do it in the form of using that particular combustible product. But what are the theaters going to do now? I mean, it went on, and they were saying that, there are all these other reasonings why it wasn't as detrimental or harmful to anybody, or why they're shocked by the decision. They're probably going to appeal the whole thing and try to get the judgment reversed. But, I don't know. I think they're fighting a losing battle on this one. So my takeaway on this one was, I said, not sure where I stand on this subject. I don't think removing that element of realism introduces great detriment to the believability of the content. I'd like to understand how vaping would be viewed here, since you're not technically smoking. There's no combustion involved, but they may treat it all one and the same. And I was thinking the same thing, like use like an Enjoy. They kind of look a little bit like a cigarette from a distance, although you do have that light up element of it. You still would have the exhale portion. So it would look like somebody's smoking, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
I don't know. So there's that. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just silly. I mean, if you're in there, but if you don't want to smell smoke, you don't want to smell smoke. I get it. But I mean, if it's part of the play and it's telling the storyline and it's part of the character and whatever they're trying to project out to the audience, I mean, come on, man.
So, Ricky, what do they use in movies then, brother?
From what I understand, because I have a buddy that's in the movies, they use the same brand. It's always the same brand. It's some brand called Molly. If you notice, everybody that carries a pack of cigarettes
Morley,
in the movie,
not Marley.
Yeah, and it's the same brand, but I always thought they were actual cigarettes. I didn't know. But I know
what are they?
I always thought they were cigarettes, but I know they have one specific brand that it's not a brand. They don't want to promote cigarette companies, so they have their own fictitious brand called Marley's or something. And you'll notice if any movie you watch, it's a pack of and they look like Marlboros, but
I think a lot of them are like cloves and other organic things like that can be smokable without causing any harm.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the deal, folks. Morley is a fictional brand of cigarettes that has appeared in various television shows, films, and video games that otherwise have no apparent connection to each other. The fictional brand packaging resembles the original packaging of Marlboro cigarette brand. Yeah. The name Morley is a play on Marley's, a nickname for Marlboro cigarettes. Yeah. Morley's appear at least as far back as 1960 in Alfred Hitchcock's film Psycho. There's also a Morley Lights version in a gold and white package similar to Marlboro Lights, marked Lights. Yeah. The Morley packaging is sold to production companies by the Earl Hayes Press, a century-old Hollywood prop packaging service. So it's not actually, there's nothing in the packaging. They have to put something in the packaging.
Yeah. So I don't know. I always thought they were real cigarettes. They just didn't want to show the brand. but I guess they might be using something else. Clothes? I don't know.
I remember when clothes were all the rage because we go to punk shows all the time, and you would smell them. There was no mistaking it. All right, so real quickly, let's move on. Then I'll jump off here on the news portion. But we've already touched on it. I just want to reiterate and reinforce the fact that people can quickly go to CASA and try to fight the vape nicotine tax. I wanted to share this really quick. They've obviously redone the chart a little bit, so the numbers have come down. They're still not better by any stretch, but I do recall at the 60 mil crossover for a 6 milligram 60 mil bottle, if you look at the cross chart, it's now down to $10.08 in tax when that was 20. So they've cut it in half. I'm not saying that's better. I think it's still a bunch of poppycock. But that said, that's your chart right now. So if you're buying 100 milligram, 1,000 milliliters of 100 milligram Nick, you're going to be paying $2,800 for that, which is insane. And that's what the vape companies need to make your juice.
Yeah, they need those big canisters.
Yeah, so I mean, so you can go on CASA, you can look at the chart for yourself.
Yeah.
Because who buys a 10 mil bottle of 3 milligram? not many people I know.
UK.
Yeah,
I was going to say a short fill.
Yeah.
Anywho, there it is. You guys know what to do. Get on CASA. Go push this thing through. It'll tell you who your reps are. Mine are down there at the bottom. It's Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the woman's name, but she can go to hell too. They're all horrible. They're all horrible. All three of mine are miserable. So anyway, I've said my piece, and that, my friends, is the news.
It's the news.
Back to you, John, in the studio.
Careful, I can get in trouble for that. Disney will sue our ass.
Yeah, I don't want to make that sound, huh?
No.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Tim, for the news and advocacy. Paul, do you have any your international vape news that you want to share before we head on out of here? You want to talk a little bit about Soap?
Yeah, I do
Scope.
actually. Yeah, I want to talk about Scope, but I want to talk about one thing in particular regarding COP9. And this is quite scary. It also allows us a little bit of leeway to play in the background while they're playing with themselves in the background. Right? So I'm going to share a screen. This is put out by Vaping Post, but there's a lot more behind it.
Okay.
What we've got here is the WHO and the FCTC has now postponed discussions on THR products until 2023, which is quite scary because we're doing the heavy lifting in the background and they're going to take all the credit for what we've been doing.
Right.
Now, the very interesting part about... Hang on, I'll make this bigger.
That's what she said. I can make this bigger, Paul.
Dave. Look, the big problem with how the whole COP9 and the whole COP presentation is put together is A, the media is shut out. B, there are no advocates whatsoever allowed to sit at the table.
Right.
You're not allowed to have anyone from the industry or anyone that has even taken a cent from the industry to partake in this. Public is not allowed in any way, shape or form. You can apply and the Secretary General can say yes or no whether or not you can have a seat at the table or as an observer. Generally, the media is there for the first day and then they're kicked out. And that's what's been going on in the background. The Philippines are pushing back now on the Bloomberg money that has been put forward. The Philippine FDA has been found to be accepting money, or we call it bribes, from Bloomberg Philanthropies or Bloomberg.org. And the whole of the FDA is being pulled apart over there right now, and they're pushing back against it. Hopefully, we will see a little bit of change. If the Philippines, Malaysia by the way, has just announced that they're going to allow liquid nicotine products in their region. We're hoping now that Thailand will do the same. If so, that will then give the region that I live in a little bit more ground to push forward with. Next part is that they're also talking about novel and emerging technologies that they're not going to talk about it because they're still saying there's not enough science. Complete and utter rubbish. We know that the science is real. We know that the science is true. But people of high caliber are not allowed to put forward their papers to the FCTC in any way, shape, or form because it's tainted it. It's not their peer or their group reviews.
Right.
And this is very scary because now they're looking at banning novel or emerging products in 2023, which is quite scary. If this happens, we don't know. Honestly, we don't know what's going to happen. They could actually shut down vaping at the world level overnight with all the signatories, the 148 nations that are signatories. And by the way, USA is only an observer.
That's what I was going to just say. They're only an observer.
Then they never ratified their actual joining of the FCTC, which is, again, that's another scary part. And we still don't know why. Because what? Are we now going to find out finally that the US FDA has been taking big backhand bags of money from Bloomberg? I wonder. Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
And now the challenge is posed by the classification of novel and emerging tobacco products contained in a document, and yes, I do have the documents and I will be able to share them, could be presented for information, and related substantive discussions could be deferred until COP10, which has happened. But now it's time that everyone across the world, I don't care where you live right now, if you live in a shoebox up in Alaska, it's time for you to step up now if you're a vapor or you've ever used vaping products. We know that CTFK had a seat at COP9. They're wholly controlled by Bloomberg. Not a problem. Anyone that has Bloomberg money attached to their name was given a seat.
Yeah.
Openly. And we're just watching. The discussion that Tim was talking about, scope, has been going on now live for the last 3 days. I've been a big part of that in the background, and I've been a guest on a couple of the different programs. The amount of science, both from within the industry, professional professors, like professional doctors, nurses, scientists, professors, that has been put forward, and all the myths have been broken down completely now. The amount of science that we've spoken about and the rubbish and the rhetoric that is coming out of the FCTC is being crushed. Yesterday, we were putting together a show and the feed was pulled. It's been a 24-hour show for the last 3 days. Yesterday, we actually got knocked off air because someone complained that we were talking about tobacco products right in the middle of a professor's presentation. I'm sorry we hit someone's nerve.
Right.
too bad. Go fuck yourself. We came back up line within about 10 minutes. That's not a problem. And Nancy Lucas, who we had on the show last week with us, is one of the driving forces behind Scope and CAFRA. We're in the background and we are fighting so damn hard now for what is happening behind the scenes. Unless we step up, I don't care. Again, I don't care where you live. If you do not step up, bam, gone, finished.
Right.
They will wipe this out in 2023. Forget what the FDA says and your rubbish laws and your garbage PMTA process. This is going to make the PMTA process look like a walk in the park. Gone. But now we've been going, counter the COP9 broadcast. We've been trying to still get in somehow to listen, but we're reading the documentation that's actually coming out, and it's horrifying. There's no transparency whatsoever. The all-female panel, with Dr. Glover and the rest of the crew, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Well,
Thought-provoking, actually.
They were adamant about adding the women. They felt that the women had not been representative in this fight towards nicotine ever. And I think this is the first year that they are really pushing to have more women involved in this this year's meeting, or whatever you want to call it. They're doing.
No, they were actually silenced.
Yeah,
they were blacklisted across the world, which is absolutely stupid. We're talking PhDs here. We're not talking walk in the park people. These are PhDs.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
It's scary what's been going on. Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
And this is okay. LMICs, or for the people that don't understand what an LMIC is, low middle income country. Bloomberg has been rapidly funding, and the other thing that we picked up on is that a lot of the signatories to the FCTC actually have major stakes in tobacco companies. And these are member nations. China being one, India being the other. The head of the WHO actually gave India an award for shutting down vaping.
Yeah.
Well, how the fuck does that work?
Yeah.
Yet promoting tobacco.
Yeah.
On the other side of it. Yet they're saying that they're helping us.
Yeah, they're going to probably get, what is that, the Nobel Prize next?
Oh, don't go there.
Please,
no.
That's the next big award to give away, Paul. That's the next big one. If you think about it, there's nothing bigger than the Nobel Prize.
It's so scary now what's going on. But this is what we classify as social engineering on a global scale, but seen from a completely different angle that we've not seen before. But if you go back to the figures, Bloomberg has actually pumped in $1 billion into the FCTC since 2012 to get his own way.
Yeah. All right. I want to throw this out there. Maybe you may throw it back and say you're crazy, John, but do you feel that the way things are going, it almost to me feels like they don't want to get rid of it. They want to control it. And they want to go down that same route that you guys are the first ones. To be honest, Australia is the first one to go with this prescription model. Do you feel that's where we're heading? We're not going to they don't want to get rid of it, but they want to control it somehow. And the only way they could control this industry and nicotine in general is to have some sort of world prescription plan put forth that everybody will jump on board with. America would jump, Europe would jump, Australia, Asia, all these countries would jump in and say, okay, we can control it, we can tax it, we'll know who's buying it, we'll know where to find it. basically that's what a prescription model would end up being, because now you know who the client is, you know how much they're spending a month on it, you know how to control it in certain areas. You want to piss people off. Oh, well, guess what? I'm sorry. There's a short supply of nicotine in your area this month. You won't be able to get any. It's a great way to piss a lot of people off. I'm going
okay.
down the conspiracy road there, but
No,
you know what I'm going at.
Well, you're not actually, because GSK are pissed off that the vaping industry ran with the idea of synthetic nicotine and created new novel variants of it. It was always there. They want to control one thing and one thing only, the nicotine molecule.
Mhm.
But no one has a patent on the nicotine molecule, only the manufacturing process. They never will, they never have, because nicotine has been around since the dawn of man.
That's just good.
It's been used in ceremonies, like in religious ceremonies across the world.
Yeah.
And it was actually the Spanish, from memory, when they were traveling around the world, that actually delivered certain seeds to other countries, and especially one variant of tobacco that is still used now, like in extraction. It's Latica.
Yeah. To me, that's just how I feel. That's where I see it going. I see it when you guys brought up, when I heard you guys were bringing up the prescription model, I could feel that's the road that we're heading, that it's going to be. And then that, to be honest, who's that benefit? That doesn't benefit these small
Big pharma.
distributors. Yeah,
Big pharma.
Big pharma takes over. And who owns most of the big pharma? I mean, the stock is stock. I mean, the people that own stock in these companies are the same people that are fighting us to get rid of it, and this way they can control it. And it's just, to me, it's just that's where I feel. I know that's a crazy conspiracy, but that's how I feel it's going. And that's, honest to God, if you think about it, that's something they could sell to countries.
That's exactly what they're trying to do with LMICs, because you had Gates in there with his inoculation programs, and that's all being run through the same departments, exactly the same departments.
Yeah, and it's sad because none of these people are talking about the actual problem, harm reduction, and that's what it's about. It's not about how we can control the nicotine. It's about trying to get us off of the nicotine. With vaping, I have a choice. I can say, hey, you know what? This week I'm going to try 0 and see how it goes. If I'm ready, I'm ready. Right. If I'm not, I can wing myself back in. I go start at 6 and work my way back down to 3 or whatever. They don't even talk about harm reduction. They don't talk about it.
But nicotine now, if you look at it on a global scale, this is actually a bigger war than the drug war has ever been.
Yeah.
And they're creating, and yes,
it's a whole new drug. It's a whole new drug.
Well, it's
not a new drug, but it's a new drug they want to control, be able to control.
Right. But
profit.
Well, the US did the wrong thing with the PMTA process. They did not bring industry into it. They wanted to create the framework themselves. That was for a start. They did not reach out to the industry leaders and the innovators that helped create a true THR product.
Yeah.
But nicotine now, and the science behind it, they're actually finding now that it has other benefits.
Yeah.
There are children now around the world that were having tremors and things like that, as they call them. They slap a nicotine patch on them, they're gone. They've been taken off their medications.
Yeah.
That's never been seen before. Yeah. And synthetic nicotine actually does have a very large part to do with that, because of the uptake into the body and how it can be done.
Yeah.
It's not a conspiracy at all. It's the absolute truth.
Yeah,
and my favorite saying is, he who controls the spice controls the universe. And now the spice being nicotine. They want to control one molecule.
Yeah.
That doesn't belong to fucking anyone.
And no belong. All right, guys, we are about out of here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Everybody out there in chat, thank you for always throwing out those questions. Tom, thanks for coming back, brother. Good to see you back. Paul, thank you again. And if, like Tim was bringing up the new segment, if you guys are interested in that, let us know and email or join the Facebook group page if you have questions on devices. We're going to start doing that next week. And if you guys have some questions on a leaking tank or trying to set up what is it? Temp
Anything.
control, whatever you got.
RDAs, whatever.
Yeah. Just throw it out there and we'll be ready to help you guys. All right, guys. We'll see everybody next Wednesday at 6 p.m. and we are out.